Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Rather. I'm UK National Sales Manager for NEC. Within this video, we'll be doing an introduction to MyCalls Desktop Lite, which is an application for the SV9100. Before we get into the live demonstration, I just want to highlight a few things so it becomes a little bit easier when we get into the demonstration. This is a client application, so it works alongside a handset, and that handset can be of any type. It can be a IP handset, it can be a digital handset, it can even be an analog handset. The application itself can provide you visibility of extension status, so you have 10 buttons that can be whatever extensions that you wish to monitor, and you can see whether on the phone or off the phone. It gives you the ability to have some call control, so by clicking on the particular icons that you can actually see in the image there, we can answer the call, hang up, transfer, recall, etc. Also, you can see your call history. For those organizations that don't have a CRM, there is an address book in there as well, so yet again that can help you when receiving calls, because we can either screen pop the address book or Outlook, or even both if you really wanted to. So yet again, you'll see that very shortly. And a very powerful feature is what we call highlight and dial. So the ability to highlight a telephone number, whether that be in a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, or even on Yale.com, you can highlight the telephone number and generate an outbound call. Now, if you've got a telesales department that are phoning prospects up manually, so you may have a CRM and they're manually typing in the telephone number into the handset. By giving them highlight and dial, you're going to speed up that process, and you probably make about 25% more calls per day. And yet again, you can work out the averages over a week, over a month, and times them by the amount of people that you have in your business. You could be making more appointments with less effort with the same amount of people, and hopefully increasing your appointment rate or your sales rate, whatever you like to measure it by. So highlight and dial is a fantastic feature. And also you have the ability to have instant messaging. Instant messaging has been around for some time now, and some of you may diss this as an application that you may want to consider. We can turn it off if you wanted to, but instant messages allow us to communicate when our colleagues are on the phone. You may want to message a colleague saying, can you come and see me after your call, or would you like to go to lunch, where you don't need a rapid response. So instant messaging could play a big part in that. So with that said, let's go and have a look at the MyCalls Desktop Lite. So here we are in the MyCalls Desktop Lite application, and the first thing I want to make you aware of, this is not a reception console. It's not designed for that. It's designed for work on an extension with any type of handset, and just takes one call at a time. With a console, it's usually taking a bunch of calls all at once, and you're putting on hold, and you're transferring, you're parking them, and a whole host of other things. So this is not designed as an operator's console. So with that said, let's start to understand the application. Your first thing your eyes are probably attracted to are these buttons here. You can have a maximum of 10 buttons. Those can be either external numbers or internal extension numbers. So I have one external number in this example, which is the police, which we will not be using throughout this demonstration, but I do have some extensions within this application. Now, what we can actually do with that, if this person wants to call Mark, yes, you can use the old-fashioned handset, if you want to call it that, and dial it, but I can just point and click, and you'll hear my mobile phone there ringing, and I'll answer the call. So that makes my life a lot easier, just point, clicking and dialing. Okay. The other advantage right now is that other users are actually seeing that these two people are you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work this out. They are actually talking to each other. But the admin could be talking to Sarah at the same time, or Sarah could be on an outgoing call, Mike could be on an incoming call. You're getting visibility of what your extensions that you've got in your application are doing, which is quite nice if you working as a team and you'll want to make sure people are on the phone or off the phone. It just makes my life easier having visibility. You can see that these buttons now have come live. Okay, so I can hang up, I can hold, I can transfer, I can do all those sort of things. Okay, remember it's not an operator's console. Okay, so if I put the caller on hold, I can either use the handset or I could click on the icon right there and it put you on hold. I could record the call, I could delete the call, I could put the phone down, all by using those icons. Okay, very, very easy. The other thing that you see at the top, you can see how many incoming calls, how many abandoned calls, how many outbound calls that I've made, which is quite nice. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we can screen pop into Outlook with Desktop Lite. So let me bring a call in, and we'll demonstrate to you what screen popping is. So I'm phoning in now off my mobile phone, and there we go. Okay, I'm just going to put the phone down for this example. So what happened was the call came in, the telephone system passed my CLI, this telephone number here in effect, and said to Outlook, have you got a record of that number? If so, screen pop it. And that's exactly what happened. Now, if I would have withheld my CLI number, or I phoned in off another telephone number that wasn't within the record, nothing would screen pop. Okay, it only screen pops if it finds a match. And within Outlook, you can see we can have a business number, home number, you can fax number, mobile number. So if I've got 4 numbers within that contact and I did phone in, it would screen pop. But if I phoned in off my wife's mobile that's not in the contact, it would not screen pop. Now, what happened then, it screen popped straight away. Now, that could be quite frustrating if you went off and made a cup of coffee, you'd have to come back and close a whole host of records. Well, that's not strictly the case, because we can change it to screen pop on answer. So your phone may be ringing, you could use the speaker key on your handset, you could even lift the handset up, or you could have hit the icon to answer the call. Once you do that, then it would screen pop. So that avoids coming back to your desk and maybe potentially having a lot of records having to close down. If you wanted, in this instance here, put this call on hold and transfer it somewhere else, you would put the call on hold, dial, let's say James on 210, and say, James, we've got Mark Rotherham for you, we need some information from you. Will you take the call? And he says, yes, certainly. And as soon as I transfer that call, providing that James has got the MyCalls desktop application, it will also screen pop on James's extension. So as soon as the CLI is passed from the first extension to the second extension, it will screen pop, which is really, really nice. Okay. You also have the ability to highlight and dial. So great feature if you're a telesalesperson, without a shadow of a doubt, because you can speed the process up. I'm just bringing in a call again just to get you the record. Okay, so there's the record. So there's various ways you can dial that person within a CRM. Within Outlook, you have 2 options. You can use this method here by using this icon, or you can highlight the telephone number. Apologies. You can highlight the telephone number, this little red button here. If I just click that, it'll go off hook and my mobile phone will ring very shortly. There we go. Yeah, so how good's that? Now you can highlight a telephone number in a Word, an Excel, an email, on a website, yell.com, etc. So you imagine if you've got a telesales team that are using a manual process. You want to increase their activity by 25%, provide them highlight and dial, provide all their telephone numbers on an Excel spreadsheet, or use yell.com or use a CRM. It will speed the process up. More calls, more opportunities, more sales. That's how I see it. Okay, so you can highlight and dial off of virtually anything. Let me close that record. The other thing that we can actually see are calls. Okay, all the calls that I've actually made. You can see I've even we got a little mini wallboarding effect. So 2 incoming, 7 abandoned, 8 outbound. I can see the calls that I have today, yesterday, last week, or I could put a custom call in there. You know, it's only for view within the MyCalls desktop. So if you wanted to have the ability to listen to call recording, you need to have MyCalls desktop. This is the Lite version, so please be mindful of that. So the last thing that I really want to touch on is that we have other applications that could aid. We have video conferencing, what we call WebRTC, so video calling and document sharing. Yet again, that feature can be brought into the application, or we can have instant messaging. So I'm going to bring up two messaging platforms so you can just see and get an idea. So with that said, let's open this box up here. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to hopefully bring up another one and bring that into view. Okay, so I'm going to say I'll invite the organization. So yeah, again, little screen pop happens on the screen, which is out of sight at this moment in time, and we can start a conversation. Very, very easy. So if it's go hi, you see hi command, good morning, so on and so forth. Okay, what you can have as well are what we call templates. So you may have something you know as a parcel in reception, or parcel at my desk. All very useful, makes my life a lot easier. Okay, sandwich van, there's quite a popular one. Okay, so templates make life a little bit easier. So another way of communicating internally. Yes, you can have groups of instant messaging, so you can send out a message to all your team. All the messages are stored, because you could potentially have people taking advantage of or bullying, or whatever the case may well be. It's all stored for you to review if and when you did get into those type of situations. So let me just close down all these chats. If you didn't want instant messaging, it's not a problem. We just hide it from you. Okay, you enable it or disable it. Okay, and the last thing, you got some options here. So if you think this application takes up too much space, but you like some of the features like screen popping, highlight and dialing, it's not a problem at all. So if we can actually make it that small, which is, you know, really, really cool. Okay, I don't have visibility of the extensions, but it will still screen pop. I can still highlight and dial a telephone number. I can still instant message. So various ways you may want to have your even smaller there. A different way of looking at your MyCalls desktop application. Okay, so that just about concludes MyCalls Desktop Lite. Let's get back for a summary. That was MyCalls Desktop Lite. Some summaries and some takeaways for you. It can speed up the outbound calling with highlight and dial, whether that's in a Word, an Excel, on a website, Yale.com, the biggest database in the world. If you want to, it saves you a huge amount of time. And just do those sums. How many calls do they traditionally do? What can we do with highlight and dial? Times that by 5 days in the week, 4 weeks of the month. You'll see the figures for yourself by just implementing MyCalls Desktop of what this could actually do with your business. We can actually screen pop, whether that be the address book or Microsoft Outlook. So yet again, when a call comes in, we have the record of the information in front of us of the customer. We can see how many calls you've made, answered and missed. The address book, as I mentioned earlier, which is extremely useful for those organizations that may not have a CRM. Okay, an address book is handy, and it can be a personal address book, or everybody could share one address book in effect. So visibility of extensions. So when you dial an extension, you can actually see before you actually dial them when they're on the phone or off the phone, because you may automatically go to voicemail, and you don't really want to do that. You may want to use instant messaging, of course. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much for your time, and if you do have any further questions, please consult with your NEC representative. My name's Mark Rotherham. Have a great day. Bye-bye.